gentlemen, scholars, critics, audience in the house, audience at home, and you who just bumped into us on a random Tuesday night, welcome to Campus Debates. I judge, I speak, but for tonight, I am your host, Abigail Wairimo. And just like any other night, welcome to a conversation, welcome to a space where we encourage intellect, where we encourage discourse, where we encourage young people to ask questions that shape the world and the values around them. Just like any other Tuesday night, I have 4 contestants who will be sitting on side proposition and side opposition, a panelist, and a motion that is so relative to today's mind, you won't be able to help yourself but watch. With that said, help me in welcoming tonight's participants, 2 lovely ladies on side proposition, Linda Chepngeno and Joy Mumbi. Welcome, welcome. Across from them, from side opposition, we have the very formidable Martin Javan and Zachary Mbeke. We see the swag. Okay, calm down, calm down. Now, let's take a look at the panel, the intellects who will be judging fellow intellectuals and give them a ranking based on intellect or something along those sorts. Chairing the panel tonight, we have the lovely Jane Baraza. Joining her on her panel, we have Farisa Machemba. And representing the gentlemen on the panel tonight, we have Brian Dolo. Now, as you know, the speakers, the panelists, and myself as the host of this show are university students or recently graduates. But the problem of unemployment has reached an all-time high in our country and our economy. For that particular reason, the motion before this House participants, panelists, and audience is, this House prefers a world where university students pay their fees after a portion of their income has been given to them instead of paying their school fees while in the course of achieving their education. That's a mouthful. Let's run it through again. This House prefers a world where university students use a portion of their income to settle their school fees instead of prepaying their school fees while still pursuing their education. First speaker, proposition, you have the floor. Here.
And we being the government side, we clearly support this motion. Why? Because this motion is a preference motion. And we have 3 actors to this motion. We have students, actor number 1. We have employment, actor number 2. And actor number 3 being money. And in the society, the status quo right now, these 3 actors have always been at loggerheads. Because a student has a dream, but this dream can be hindered based on money. I need money to get into campus. But also after campus, I'm never assured about employment. So these 3 institutions have always never been at par with each other. And that is the status quo. So me coming to tell you that, you know what, we as the government will prefer to pay your fee. And then after we pay your fee, you get an employment. After employment, you pay us back. There's nothing wrong with that. But this side, you know what this side will tell you? That has not worked. Our side, our case, we will tell you this, that this whole world of us paying your fee and then you paying back will work because of these things. 1, we will expand the selection metrics. Being from high school and being a student here in Kenya, the one thing that is always emphasized is about grades. Get a good grade, get into universities. And these grades usually limit you. A students, you either get into medicine or, actually it's medicine or engineering. B students, you have a field to play, a very tiny field of what? What are the fields you can play with B? You can be a teacher, you can be a nurse. What else can you be? And then we have the C pool, C plus. Actually, it is C plus. C plus, what do we play with? I don't even know. Yet I am a university student. You see how limited and how suffocating that is for a student. Another thing is, okay, not another thing. Because of this restricting metrics, we bring about other trends that can help you gain your platform in university. And that is, apart from grades, we bring in market trends. It won't only be your A is what matters, but what does the market want? The minute the government steps in to pay for your money, it means it will demand how you are trained has to be the top level possible. It is called university for a reason. It is universal. What a Kenyan student should learn, an American one is also doing. So have you seen this thing over, I've done my degree here in Kenya, but for me to go to America, I have to pass another exam in America for me to actually enroll there, because our education system is not really at par with them. But the moment the government says, you know what, we'll take this number, train them in this system, and then put them out there, you won't only be marketable to Kenya, but actually globally. This other side will tell you about flooding. The market is flooded with graduates. Yes, we don't dispute that. Graduates are everywhere, but they are not sharpened to be in the correct field. How they are trained is actually not in the correct field. Yes, you are trained under education, but what the system wants is not what you have. Things like internships and retraining of graduates. Yes, you have already graduated, but you have to be retrained again. You've had that thing over and over again. Yes, you are a teacher, but come in, we will retrain you again for what? 1 year, 6 months. That we will cut on that because you're sharpened. Our impact is that inequality will be at its all-time low, because when we give everybody a chance to education, everybody, even the best among you, the A students who don't have money can come to school because you're paid for. And I'm hearing my bell, so that means my time is up. My partner will come and sharpen this thing. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Speaker, for that wonderful speech. We now welcome the first speaker of the proposition to rebuttal. Here.
Pieces of framing and characterization that if we miss in this debate, then we are not going to tackle the aim of this debate. One, developing nations such as Kenya always have low employment rate. That is to say, they have many graduates without this job currently. Even as much as they have pressure and incentive to create those jobs, they don't have capacity to do so. Secondly, basic education is always from nursery school to Form 4. University education is about providing skills to the people. That means that if for the government to win, this debate, then they must show that if you increase the number of people coming to university, you will equally increase the quality of education that they get for them to have that quality skills that needed. As long as we show you that that is impossible from our side, and their world is not solvent and efficient, and ours is so solvent and efficient, we win this debate. But thirdly, nature of quality education in university looks like this. One, it requires sophisticated structures, right? Secondly, it requires skilled lecturers. Thirdly, it requires modern laboratories and structure. Fourth, it requires exposure to students. This to mean it requires collaboration with industries and corporate world, right? What this therefore roll into, this means it requires serious funding to achieve all of this. The main three actors in this debate is student, university, and Kenya as a nation. Actor analysis and how this is very important. One, to the student themselves. For a working economy, students should have skill required in the work field. That is to mean, in case that university fees is being paid after the student, what this means is that, A, we have many people going to the university. The number increases with lesser resources in our universities. Universities education therefore becomes theoretical instead of practical, because there's no money to increase the structures, there's no money to give out these particular sophisticated structures, right? We give the numbers, but the ratio of lecturers to students now rise from 1 to 20 to 1 to 2,000, because everyone now get access to it. Instead of learning practical skills, they were brought into a lecture room, a lecture explain theory. They go to places of work, then this is the impact it has. A, many graduates without skills, we get cases such as a doctor treating a wrong patient, right? But again, secondly, we have graduates, but we hire laborers, right? For example, hiring doctors from Cuba, yet in Kenya we have our own doctors, right? Because these doctors in Kenya therefore lacks the skill that is required. They were being taught theoretically because the numbers increased. It means that in their world, we have graduates without job, but again, government still goes extra mile to hire laborers from outside. Government loses, the same time student loses, there's no employment. But secondly, the university as a second actor. University already requires too much money to run its program. Already many universities in Kenya lives in debt, right? Lack of enough funding already exists within our universities, right? That is even the reason why today our university cannot provide skill-based learning, but they are going towards theoretical learning today without even necessarily including their own model, right? In this scenario where we have like people paying after they are done with their school, what this means is that the number will triple what the university have today. This means that number that already increased to our universities therefore requires too much funding, right? This means that university will pump out theoretical based individuals who cannot get employment. The reputations of Kenya universities will go down. Ranking of Kenya universities with other universities will not become comparable, right? But again, thirdly, it is the nature of the individuals always not to care after their necessity have been met, right? That's why you have issues like such as Kenya, when people are done with their degree, they don't care about paying help, right? Because they feel like they're done with it. But again, secondly, nature of Kenya is that everything is being politicized. That's why you have renowned politicians coming out and telling you that help is your right, do not pay it. As much as this fund model is preferred and it is in action, what necessarily happens is that this politician will take advantage of this for them to gain populism idea and votes of comrades. What therefore this means is that we will tell this comrades that don't pay them. The government won't pay. Comrades won't pay this money. Comrades won't pay this money after graduating. What this means is two things. One is either government coming in to pay this money for themselves. Because if they fail, students strike. There's a fight between the student and government itself. But again, secondly, government money in Kenya, government such as Kenya cannot have enough money to pay for all these universities for students to learn. What necessarily means that this university must work under debt. Already our university is dying. Already they are collapsing. Adding them this much burden, we are killing our own universities. They cannot teach students. We are having to have theoretical doctors. Many patients are going to be treated without necessarily having known what they are treating for, right? Let us look what market wants, right? If today, therefore, we want that everyone to come and learn medicine, what necessarily mean that in that free world where everyone gets access to medicine, then in the next 6 years, we're going to produce over 50,000 doctors, which cannot be taken into the employment field. What this means is that we are going to have doctors without jobs, even in the world, taking them to their own best. At this, my partner will deal with how our world is solvent enough and why we are winning this debate from OO. I rest my case.
Well. So far, we have two perspectives. We have the proposition telling us that the name is in the world, university universal. Make it accessible to as many people as possible. On the flip side, opposition tells you, does increasing the number of students necessarily lead to an increase in the quality of education and therefore increase in the quality of output of individuals to the general society? Engage with us in our Twitter handle. We actually have a poll up at this minute at our KTN handle at KTN Home. Tell us what you think about this whole scenario, and we will be back after the break. Hello and welcome back to Campus Debates. I am your host, Abigail Enrimo, and where we left off, I believe the opposition had posed a very important question to side proposition. Does increasing the number of students automatically convert to the increasing of the quality of education in the general university sector? Welcoming the second speaker for the proposition to engage us further. Hear, hear.
Take another run at reading this motion, because clearly opposition has misinterpreted what the motion said. They come here and they lie to an audience, they lie to the nation, and they lie to Twitter, and they lie to the world. Now, this motion clearly says that a world where university fees are paid after students are employed as a proportion of their incomes, right? Follow me here. Rather than a fee paid prior to receiving an education. Now, there are three actors here, and we can even expand it and make it 6, because education is a very broad ministry. They talk about the government lacking the capacity. We want to inform you from our side of the house, failure to do research, you stand and lie to a nation. The education ministry is the highest funded ministry in most countries in the world, right? So, and that funding is not government's money, it is my money and your money. So there needs to be value for money. Already, as the world looks like, they are lacking value for money. They have made the university a perfect world, that the university needs what? Structures such as laboratories, structures such as better classes. What exists today in our universities is a table, a desk, and a pen. Those are the facilities they're telling you you have when you yourself are paying for that education before you receive it. So there's no even value for money on their side of the world. Students are paying, but they're striking. So is there value for money on their side of the world? We want to tell you there's no value. Now, why is there value on our side of the world? Employers have to come in. Employers are going to come in because for the longest time we need to bridge this gap between employers, university learning, right, and the students. So when the employers come, these people they put their demands on this. They say you cannot churn engineers who have not been trained through the following categories. Now, they also say that the larger population in the world and in certain parts of our nation are poor. That is true. Isn't that even much more incentive to have poor people? But because it's not your poverty that passes exam, but rather your intelligence, that we have you sit in classes because you're gifted with what you have, pass those exams, leave that room, and go and contribute as you're now earning. In this case already, they tell us that there's no capacity. Capacity for what exactly? Every other time this nation is crying about shortage. There's shortage. You go to a public doctor, you go to a public hospital, I'm sorry, and you sit in line for 6 hours waiting for only one doctor to attend to you. Why does that have to be the case, and yet you're taxed on healthcare? Why does that have to be the case that you will take your children to school and only one teacher is attending to 80 of them? In our side of the world, there is value for money. There is no shortage in the job market. There's just a flooding of unemployability. The job market there's no flooding. There's a shortage of doctors. There's a shortage of teachers. There's a shortage of even farmers. So we tell you this, on our side of the world, right? There's better uses of your taxes. That is the first impact. The second thing, and if they come to talk to you about defaulting, that say, for example, that after you get this education, you will default. Any job operates, first of all, on contracts and on ethics. If you default paying your university after you've been educated, you can be fired. There's the Human Resource Management Department. They're keeping tracks and tracks on you. It is already working in other sectors. If any business person defaults paying taxes, the Kenya Revenue Authority is on them. So this model, if we are to borrow it in the side of education, it will still be functional, right? We are also bridging inequality. We are telling you that the larger population is poor, but they have dreams. We are restoring the value of education on our side of the house as well, right? And there's an over-reliance on parents. Parents are always feeling the pinch of having to educate their children even when they need to retire. In this case, you know what? You, the learner, are the actor. You're going back, Once you're employed, because the employers are now in tandem, in tune with the university system, they're the ones making the demands. Already grades are very necessary to have you come in. But beyond your grades, as my first partner echoed, there's also career guidance. So we are going to have, number one, producing people who are happy at their jobs, because one entry requirement was you walked through career guidance through your high school learning, and not just sleeping late at night, working to be forced to do a course that you don't even take joy in. So we have happier professionals. Are you seeing the world I am seeing? Because I can see this world, my friends. And then we're looking at retirement. We are complaining that the old people are always in office. They have to stay there because they are not fixing unemployment on their side. They have to stay there because they have children to educate. But in our side of the world, parents are not the ones having this burden. You work, and that keeps a check on you, because you know that I am working right now. I will pay once I get into employment. So that is where your eyes are focused on. The motivation is clear and direct. The other thing, and largely just before I sit, we paint for you a factory that is functional, a vow, and we are welcoming you to step into this world. Finland is already functioning very well on this. Germany is already functioning so well on this. As it is right now, we like to call it status quo. What status quo means for viewers who do not have dictionaries, it means the present. It just means what is happening right now. Right now, we have a mass of young people who are desperate and they're hopeless, because every time we tell them unemployment is being solved, it's never been solved. Now, our model is the solution. And before I sit, we just want to make it very clear that they need to, if they're to win this debate, they need to bring back reasoning and sense, because they really divulged. They went out of none in their side benefits. They don't even solve unemployment. They don't solve poverty. And they keep telling us we need highly trained lecturers at the university level. The minute we have that employers are the ones putting the demand on how university education will look like, then naturally we will have lecturers who are already trained so highly and qualified, and our education now will be better, because we are not just working throughout this nation alone. We have global rankings. Please, let's place our nation at a better place. Thank you.
Powerful, powerful closing speech there from the proposition side. We hear her talking about equating education to value for money. Do you think that you get the value of money considering what you pay to the education that is delivered to you as a university student? Maybe we'll hear the answer of this question from the last speaker of side opposition. Here.
I'll begin my speech in 3, 2, 1. I think after we've been told we need to bring back sense into this debate, I think it only starts with my speech. Now, the only way, panel, that we get actual utility and functionality in a society is if there is equal distribution of individuals. In their world, everybody goes to school, everybody becomes a doctor, an engineer, and all that. Who is going to fix my car? Who is going to sweep the floors? We still need those people, because those are the most important people in society. Now, let me run a bit of rebuttals here even before we get into my case. First of all, they argue for expanding of the scope of selection of individuals that they can get into university. First of all, this is very problematic, because the reason why grades are used is because these are a measure of capacity. They are a metric of capacity. If you walk into a hospital, you trust the doctor because you know this is a sharp mind. This person was very intelligent in high school and also went through university and is very intelligent. Panel, call me a mean person, but I refuse to be treated by a person who got D. As long as I am alive, panel, that is the most important thing to me. Secondly, they argue that the Ministry of Education is highly funded. First of all, justify the teachers striking, justify universities being shut down because they have poor funding, justify MMU striking because they're not getting help. At the point where you justify all these things, then come and tell us that the Ministry of Education is highly funded. If you cannot do that, you cannot win this debate. Secondly, they argue that there is no flooding. There's going to be no flooding because of what they bring, right? And they also say that universities is only about a desk and a chair. First of all, if universities are only about desks and chairs, then let us do away with all the labs and let these doctors that you want to train meet their first patients in hospitals, and you are the first test subject. If you agree to be the patient who will be treated by that doctor, it is fine, win this debate. But if you cannot do that, then you are already conceding to the value that these things bring into a university, into teaching these people skills that are necessary for them to be able to become a competent workforce. At a point where you deny these in universities this ability to teach people skills, you are denying a society the capacity to exist in and of itself. If you deny a society capacity to exist, a state is gone, a country is gone, a society is disoriented. If you can prove that by having more people in the job market is how you reduce unemployment, then maybe we can argue that you're going to win this debate. But panel, the way that you solve inequality, the way that you solve unemployment is not by telling everybody, now everybody go to university, go study whatever you want, and then go out there and look for a job. Panel, there are people who already do not have jobs as it is. The Boda Boda guy that brought you here to USIU has a degree in BCom, but he's out there because there are no jobs. And they want to tell you that they want to take everybody to go into university and study BCom and study medicine. Panel, do not be deceived. POI.
Saying that we brought on a case that everybody is going to university. Already, grades are the metrics that are used to determine the placement of university. So please explain and stop misinterpreting us.
The problem is everybody goes to university, right? They've already argued that grades are the metric, and we say yes, we agree grades are the metric, because the things that people study in university is not only education and BCom and medicine and all these other things. There are so many other things that people still study in university. For example, I'm studying international relations, there's someone who's studying forensic science, there are so many other things that people study, yet in all of these courses that people are studying, there is still incapacity, there is still unemployment. People are walking around with those degrees and they do not have employment. At a point where you're able to prove that government will take everybody to school, but will also give everybody jobs, then we can argue for that. But at a point where government does not have the capacity to increase the job opportunities that are available to the people, and say that we will take you to university, we will allow you to study for free, you will pay us back later, but we can ensure that you will be able to pay us back because we will have a job. If you can't give me a job so that I am able to pay you back, do not lie to me that you want to take me to university. Let me go out there and let me study in a tertiary university and let me learn how to become a mechanic and let me make money on myself without a loan that I need to pay back to you at the end of my life, right? Now, comparative analysis. First of all, let's look at the job market and its detriments. Even in the case where more people then will have the capacity to earn because they have gone to university and studied various courses, there is still not quality education that these people are going to be getting, because we've already proved that a lot of people in these institutions means there's going to be an incapacity of these institutions to be able to offer these people quality education. Why? Because first of all, the facilities are not enough. Secondly, the lecturers are not going to be as dedicated because first of all, they are underpaid. Secondly, they don't even have enough energy to do it because one lecturer has to teach 2,000 students. At a point where that doesn't make sense, panel, then we cannot argue that we want to take everybody to school, right? In our world, yes, people miss out on the courses of their dreams, which is okay and it happens, but those that are able to afford it or can get scholarships to actually study are able to produce a competent workforce that can ensure that when you go to hospital, you will come out of there alive. They cannot prove that in their world. Secondly, survival through job acquisition. We are a developing nation, as my speaker has said, and that means very high rate of unemployment. The increase in number of people who want jobs does not necessarily remove that. You will ruin my one suit that I have, walking around every day looking for a job, and you will not even give me a job so that I'm able to buy a new one. At a point where you are not able to offer people capacity to better their lives simply because the quality of education that you offered them does not grant them the opportunity to go out there and become better individuals, you largely fail as a government, right? Now, the impact of that, in our world, we see that not everybody necessarily gets to go to university, but we mitigate a majority of the harms that are presented. Number one, we see that even with basic high school education, people can still survive. The government has increased the education system and has improved it to actually be able to teach people evergreen skills. It has established talent academies that work for the people. In their world, what you have is that people are, all of them have degrees, but these degrees, first of all, are not good enough to get them into an international market, and second of all, these degrees are not even going to help them because even locally they cannot get jobs.
Powerful speech right there as we conclude our segment, our debating part rather of this segment. Fun fact, did you know that in the USA, this is actually the metric, that is actually the financial metric that is implemented in universities, where you go to school first, incur debt for a full 4 years, and spend the rest 10 to 15 years of your adult employed life paying off student loans. You as a parent, you as a student, is this the kind of metric, is this the kind of financial implementation you would want to see our country adapt? Converse with us on our Twitter handle at KTN Home and let us know what you think. We'll be back after a short break to see what our panel decides. Here.
the StarTimes aerial decoder at 1,199 shillings and enjoy the classic bouquet for 1 month free. Or the StarTimes dish decoder at 2,999 shillings and enjoy super bouquet for 1 month free. Get your decoder at any of our business halls or dealer shops nationwide.
Don't you forget it.
StarTimes. Enjoy digital life.
Mortein Doom, with its trusted formulation, it provides protection in seconds. So spread the Mortein Doom message of how we, you and I, can fight to end malaria. Mortein Doom, Kenya's #1 choice.
Get the StarTimes aerial decoder at 1,199 shillings and enjoy the classic bouquet for 1 month free. Or the StarTimes dish decoder at 2,999 shillings and enjoy super bouquet for 1 month free. Get your decoder at any of our business halls or dealer shops nationwide.
Don't you forget it.
StarTimes. Enjoy digital life.
Wakiulizana ni boss hapa, wauliza mimi ni ghost ama wakidai comedy, rap drama, mimi nitaleta action in full armor. Usisahau baby mimi ni fighter.
Yo, it's your boy H to the A to the NTA, Hunter the Samurai. You know the vibe, you know how we get down.
Wakiulizana ni boss hapa, wauliza mimi ni ghost ama wakidai comedy, rap drama, mimi nitaleta action in full armor.
Always give your best, do what you can with what you have.
Can you skill, I'm sick, I'm ill, I'm the deal, I'm fresh, I'm real.
Catch me this Thursday, behind the music, KTN.
Kona kora kora nako kora kona kana kani kora kora kana kani kora kona kora kora nako kora kona kana.
StarTimes is brightening up your world with amazing kids content. Lots of unforgettable moments to enjoy.
Wow, amazing.
Celebrate with us to stand a chance to win amazing weekly prizes in our lucky draw. Buy any StarTimes decoder at any of our business halls or dealer shops nationwide. Recharge your monthly subscription and stand a chance to win.
Hooray! All right.
Enjoy a variety of your favorite cartoons from our amazing kids channels. From our family to yours. Asante for welcoming us into your homes. StarTimes. Enjoy digital life.
Nikisikia tu hivi nasikia kutapika, nasikia kutupa mate.
Ai baba Oscar amerogwa.
Mali iko maneno abaharibiki wazee.
Ati?
Jamaa anaonekana ni ako na mimba.
Bibi yake ndiye yuko na mimba.
Kitu ambayo amuelewi, makoa ni mjamzito, hiyo ni ripoti ya daktari.
Welcome back to Campus Debates. Now, for the last portion of our tonight's episode, before we move into the verdicts by the panel led by the chair, we'll give each side one last chance to save their grace, sway the judges, and hopefully sway the audience here in the house and at home. Starting with a general question, or maybe even a specific question, we hand it over to the panel.
Okay, so that was a wonderful round. So both teams concede that Kenya is already a developing country going through economic disparities. So the question to all of you, the general question is, you as a student, which world would you mostly prefer? A world where you start your entire education knowing at the back of your mind that you do have a debt that is going to, like, let me say, follow you at the end of this journey, and it's actually not guaranteed that you're going to have this sort of education, or a world where you actually decide to pay for the sort of value of education that you actually need, but it is also, again, not guaranteed that you're going to get a job that is going to sustain the value of your money.
Thank you for that question, Madam Chair. We prefer our world, we stick to our world, where you go to school first and then you will remunerate back the education money back to the university. Why this is so is because already, as it exists, it's not even the university students who are paying. Just before the new system that was enacted, they are being paid for by the government. So if you look at it closely, in both worlds, one, the government is paying, there is no guarantee of employment. In our world, we tell you that you attend it as it is, right? You will pay back later, but we also bring in employers to the table, and we merge educators, employers, together with students. So everybody is involved in bringing back what was invested in to churn out human resource to the larger economy of the country. Thank you.
Quality versus quantity. I think, as a student, I would largely buy into my world because, first of all, I have the skills that are necessary. In their world, you don't. Why? Incapacity of facilities. In my world, I get into the job market without debt, but I have studied slowly. I have struggled to study, but I have finally finished, and I get out with enough capacity to act in whatever job position I choose. In their world, you get out with a 5 million loan and you get fired every 2 months because you can't even work. You can't do what you're supposed to do. Why? Because you didn't get enough skills. I think skills mean I get permanent employment. Permanent employment means I have more money in my pocket. That is a world that I want as a student.
To Linda and Joy. Assuming feasibility, 3 things: interest rates on debt, inflation, and taxation on income. How do you navigate these things with a healthy balance on the same income in your world? Assuming feasibility, 3 things are going to happen: interest rates on the debt, inflation, and normal or heavy taxation that happens on the income. So how do you navigate this with a healthy balance on provision and your own sustenance according to your world?
Okay. Should I take it?
Okay, thank you so much for that question. Majorly, I get about debt and inflation of it, correct? What was that? Was that the question? Yeah. Okay, so our model takes time to develop a person, and we bring out the best in you. I don't know why they keep on misinterpreting our case, but our case, we tell you, we will train you to the best that you can achieve, to the best of your skill set. This means your employment. You will have a better employment you will have a stable employment that will be able to give back and pay this debt that has accumulated over time. So education first, get a better employment, and then the money will trickle down. And it's not a lifelong debt. Okay? Thank you.
The question goes to team opposition. So how does remaining in the same sustainable space offset the unemployment and financial burden on the student? How does remaining in the same sustainable space offset the unemployment and financial burden on the student?
If you get my framing, we said that for a university, for someone to get employment, they must have a skill required for it. In a status quo, what happens is that you struggle to pay your school fees, but you get that skills you need. It means there's two things. You can be innovative and create that job and solve the problem of unemployment. Or you get to the job field with that skills, you get this higher chance of you being employed. That is one. But again, secondly, status quo currently is improving. We are seeing scenario where Equity, Barclays is sponsoring people to go to school. What is important in our world is that that money is being paid instantly. University adds the number of facilities instantly. You get that skill required. You can innovate and create that job for yourself. That is why universities need skilled laborers to go and solve the problem of unemployment. That doesn't exist. That is my case.
End of tonight's session, and we will wrap it up by hearing the verdict from the judges. Can I get a set of drum rolls?
Well, I'd like to thank all the speakers for that engaging debate. For this round, we'd have to give it to team opposition. So, the main thing that we actually find your case to actually be missing is the aspect of guarantee that these students are actually going to have stable jobs that would be able to repay these loans, ensure they are well sustained, and at the end of the day be able to make sure that the economy is still at a good place. So in as much as you guys are actually trying to tackle both the present and the future, which is trying to give better education to all the uneducated students around, you guys are actually trying to tell us that in as much, the moment that we decide to give them this sort of opportunity, they're going to have better jobs, stable jobs that are going to make sure that they are able to pay this specific debt to the government. But they come and pose a specific question to you, and they come and frame it in such a way whereby they tell you, to the extent where you are already given this sort of job, yes, in your best case scenario, we take it, you have these specific jobs. But that aspect of you having the debt, will it be able to sustain you to actually live better, or will it actually leave you at a situation where you are struggling to pay the government, you yourself you are not even able to sustain yourself, and at the end of it all, you are even able to lose this specific job, which will be able to leave the government again at a standstill because they invested a lot of money in paying for this specific education, but at the end of it all, they're not even getting that sort of benefit that is actually needed from them. The aspect of the entire job flooding and such questions. So the aspect of not having a guaranteed job, considering that the government is heavily investing in this, and they actually hit the nail on the head by mentioning the main actors in this debate, which is actually the government, the student themselves, and even Kenya itself, as a nation suffering from economic disparities. So if at all you'd be able to have that specific guarantee that these students are going to have that better sort of job that is going to sustain them, make sure that they actually compensate the government for whatever was already invested in them, and at the end of it all, we're going to solve that aspect of unemployment, you guys would be able to have a higher rank. But at the end of it all, opposition are able to give us a much convincing case, and with that, opposition win.
Well, that was our panel. That was our debate tonight. Thank you for tuning in to Campus Debates. Keep engaging with us on our Twitter handle at KTN Home, and also SMS us your thoughts at 22151. We promise we won't ghost you. And who knows, you must just find us at your campus next time on a Tuesday night. Bye-bye.